Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS. If you're new, welcome, and welcome back, KS family. Our community's mission is to bring more kindness, integrity, and skill into the crypto space. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin is currently up 2.88% to 41,675. Ethereum up 2.64% to 3025. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth in the process. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. If you're going through a life pullback at the moment, please know that there's always hope. The sun will come out again, and our community's love and healing thoughts are with you. You're not alone. Currently, the only official email of CryptoTradingKS is my personal email. That's kstandf@gmail.com. You can reach out to me anytime on that. Just make sure that you don't get scammed. I'm putting this in because certain community members are getting contacted by scammers pretending to be me. Please just make sure it's from kstandf@gmail.com. And you can easily detect scammers because they always ask for money. I don't ask for money, and I don't do trades on behalf of other people. So please just know that all we have inside our community is the knowledge transfer from the masterclass. And that's actually to make you independent and transfer all my skills to you. The link to the masterclass is in the description of this video, and you can go to www.cryptotechnicalanalysis.org to see that. The highest honor in crypto technical analysis is the CTKS Ambassador designation. These are people who have shown their dedication and commitment to crypto technical analysis in all its facets, especially the real wealth aspects of integrity, decency, and kindness. You can find an official list of the CTKS ambassadors just here at www.cryptotechnicalanalysis.org. These particular people, you can reach out to them directly on Twitter. I've put their Twitter handles under these buttons. These people, these ambassadors, can give you 80% off the recommended price, well, the actual price of the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass. The CryptoTradingKS Masterclass is a premium Rolls-Royce level masterclass on crypto technical analysis. It uses what is called the CTKS method, and this methodology actually updates all of candlestick pattern analysis. It also simplifies every other particular trading tool that you can use, such as fib retracements or extensions, Elliott wave theory, and so many other things. It actually simplifies the whole structure of technical analysis. It does so through exponentially learning enabled content. I was a lecturer for many, many years in first and second year statistics. I taught my students from the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a bit of a maverick when it came to actually imparting knowledge. I found my students actually loved statistics because I made it really, really easy for them. And I've done exactly the same thing inside the masterclass. I build up everything very, very slowly. And I always say, go slow to go fast. This is simply the foundation section. And I wanted to let people know that lesson 34 and 35 have also been added. I think it's a really good idea to understand why the masterclass was created, and I have a video here just under testimonials that explains why. It's all about knowledge transfer, and if we go into some of the testimonials, it's just a really good idea to figure out how other people have actually related to the masterclass. I'd like to share something that Panos wrote because it's really, really beautiful. Currently, I'm on my second focus run through the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass. I've been in the crypto market since 2013 and had my share of ups and downs. I can honestly state that the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass is by far the best approach to crypto's inherent chaotic nature. It's the single best way to approach this market, gaining experience, aka skin in the game, while becoming anti-fragile in the process. Thanks so much, Panos. And you can actually read through, there were quite a few different testimonials that people have shared through a variety of different sources. It just helps you gain a bit of an understanding on how other people have been going through the masterclass and where they've found it of value to them. I'd also like to thank the very kind and generous people who reached out and bought me a coffee on buymeacoffee.com/CryptoTradingKS. Thanks so much, everyone. And what I do every month, just as my way of saying thank you for your kind generosity, I put a new video out, just a little bit of an edge. I'd like to especially thank Vicente. Vicente is such a beautiful person, always very kind. I was a little bit under the weather recently, and Vicente actually reached out and he said, when I was a child, when I was sick, he said, just cooking garlic with water 3 minutes later and remove the water and fry the soft garlic in olive oil and sea salt, red paprika and rosemary for 2 minutes and take it with a slice of bread. Wow, that sounds ideal. I just love garlic. Thank you so much, Vicente. And thank you to Wigsy also. And thank you for your kind comment on the latest video I just popped out. It's really nice of you. Theophil, since suffering some throat issues, I was thinking of buying some extra coffee. Imagine the disaster. Ken without a voice. Thank you, my friend. That's really sweet. And Adrian, thank you for your comment. I always log in as just a public member. I don't log in and show you what is confidential. I always keep private messages private, email messages private, everything private. Your real name, if you're using an alias, I keep it private as well. That's only shared between you and I. And I'd just like to thank Adrian. It's really, really beautiful what you wrote. Just also to let you know that yesterday I put out the February 2022 Coffee Club video, a guaranteed way to lose money in crypto. I wasn't happy with one guaranteed way. I wanted to put 3 more in. It's just my nature. I keep on adding. And you might be wondering what these things are. They're the previous 6 videos that are in the Coffee Club. Enjoy, everyone. Rule 715, be aware of self-sabotage. Actually, containing self-sabotage is the most important thing we can do, not just in life, but especially with trading. Self-sabotage occurs for a variety of reasons, but one of the best ways to get rid of self-sabotage and feel a sense of real, true, positive self-worth is to maintain a positive excellence life trend. That's why we focus on real wealth. Having kindness, gratitude, happiness, integrity, decency creates inner and outer peace. And that's not a weak thing to do. A lot of people think that being kind is being weak. It is not. It takes a great amount of courage and honor, strength and boundaries to be kind in such an unkind world. But just because the world can be unkind from time to time doesn't mean we have to join it there. When we have kindness in our life, when we come from a position of integrity and decency, doing the right thing when nobody is watching, we create inner and outer peace and a commitment to positive excellence in all things through persistence and commitment. Generosity and selflessness creates a really, really meaningful, beautiful life. And you may say, Ken, what's all this real wealth about? Don't we just need to know support and resistance lines? Aren't we looking for momentum? Aren't we doing a swing trade or something like that? What's all this about? I can tell you, after 3 decades in the market, if we get our real wealth together before we get into buying and selling, what you will find is that you will become more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love. Emotional mastery is really, really important. I can't overemphasize it enough. In the comments section, it would be really good to get the feedback from the community. How have you found real wealth? Has it made any difference? Are you looking at life differently? And especially the masterclass students, if you would like to share your experience, I think that would be really, really useful to others. Rule 138, all investors become traders every time they buy or sell. This is a really important rule. Many people classify themselves as investors, not knowing that they actually become traders anytime they buy or sell. Why is this important? It's important because of Rule 4. Price moves in waves. Price in the crypto market is like this wave. We can have really good waves and we can have crashing, destructive, exponentially imploding waves. It's very, very important that you're this particular person. You're riding the wave out, not this one. You don't want to go for a swim unnecessarily. There's potentially a very large difference between the investing and the trading mindset. And when I say potentially, professional investors and traders actually know the rules of the game. But so many people, when they start, they get caught in zone 1 or zone 2. These are the panic zone and the blame zone. Zone 1 and zone 2 are the loss zones. Loss is unavoidable in the crypto market, but when you're new, what happens is people want to sell you certainty, especially scammers. They want to say that you'll never lose money, that there is no risk. Run from those people. They will promise incredible percentage gains. Again, run from those people. It's not like that. In this world, you get everything through hard work and especially knowledge. If you're not investing in your knowledge, you will lose money. And that brings us to zone 3, the patience and rule zone. This is all about probability, where zone 1 and zone 2 are about certainty, which creates enormous stress and terror. Zone 3 and zone 4 are about probability. Zone 3, the patience and rule zone, the rules is all about knowing what the market actually does. That's why I share these rules with you. Literally, there are 3 hidden zones within KS Zone Analysis. Zones 1 and 2, how to lose money. Zone 3, how to make money. Zone 4, how to keep your money, grow wealth, not riches. Riches come and go. Wealth is something that you can actually grow over time and grow your meaning. And that's all about happiness. So what typically happens is investors and traders are pulled into the market when they see price go up and up and up and up and up and up. And they say, oh, it's certain. It's just going up. Remember, zone 1 and zone 2 are built on certainty, and they are the loss zones. No such thing. What actually happens is many people get trapped at the top because they're certain things will go up forever. We know price moves in a wave. And when that wave comes crashing down, it can be absolutely disastrous for people if they have a zone 1, zone 2 thinking. For example, price has been coming down now for 3 months, and a lot of new investors and traders are getting utterly fed up, and we don't blame them. That's what the institutions do. The smart money mindset is actually accumulating on the way down. This represents good, very good risk for return ratio. Not so much when price is going up. When price is coming down, that's when you want to participate. But what happens in zone 1 and zone 2? Many people just say, it's coming down, it will go to zero. And around here, around this particular point, just after July, many people said that Bitcoin was going to zero. And I said, no, it's not. It's going to start to rebound. And it did really, really well. We also see when we have black swan events, these are really chaotic events that occur inside the markets. They literally drop off a cliff. When we see those, we're actually leaning into that with everything that we've got because we understand how these things work. They always repair. That is the nature of the crypto market. And a lot of people in zone 1 and zone 2 don't actually understand what crypto is. It's the ownership layer of the next generation of the internet. You're actually buying a stake, ownership of Web 3.0. Speaking of black swans, you can see all these lightning bolts represent black swans of varying degrees. We always get black swans. Unfortunately, over the past 12 months or a little bit longer, we've had so many black swans. They've been coming out of the woodwork. It's a swan frenzy. When looking at the KS model, which is a crypto technical trading model based on institutional price psychology, Masterclass students, you will get this chart in TM2. What we can see, it's the RSI is starting to kick up. We've been talking about this for a while. When the RSI gets too oversold, it bounces, and it tends to bounce really, really severely. That's why I was saying we shouldn't be too surprised if we get day after day of double % gains. We're still in the bull market psychology, the sunshine of the bull market, and we do compare sunshine to sunshine to sunshine of past bull market runs. Of course, this one looks a little bit different because there's been so much distortion in price for so many different reasons. I'd like to thank Ted Boyston, who actually sent this particular chart. This is the white line is Bitcoin's price action, and this is Ted's estimation of the KS model, and that blow off top of 486,000 on the 25th of May. What a lot of people don't understand is that Bitcoin is an exponential asset class. That means that Bitcoin can go up by orders of magnitude, and the alts can go up by such severe percentage amounts that would make you basically dizzy. It is literally like no other market on earth, and that's why I love it so much. It's really, really challenging, but if you have the knowledge, you can do really well. Just to interpret this blue line or this blue range surrounding this particular price action is just a range of variability. And Ted said, we're back in the range of variability. So this model, according to what Ted has done, is valid. And I'd really like to thank Ted for doing this. Very nice guy. I suggest you follow him. Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. What have we seen Bitcoin do recently? Bitcoin was coming down. It was struggling against this 38,935 level. And I mentioned that often what happens is that momentum has to build, power has to build to take out these levels. So we get that price moving in a wave. And then what did we see? A big push through, a lot of short liquidations pushing us up. Where are we now? We're just below the 41,933 level, which is a level of resistance. We can see that these particular support and resistance lines, they really, really matter. If you don't know how to draw support and resistance lines correctly, you will lose money. So how do we actually apply Rule 45? No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. I'll take you down the rabbit hole. What you basically see is Bitcoin pushed up above this resistance, and it did so en masse. It really, really did well. But then it started hitting resistance levels, which started to slow that price down. It's now consolidating under this 41,933 mark. It could quite likely come back to 38,935, or it could come up to this much heavier resistance line at around 43,397. Just be aware of this. We have two overhead resistance lines. We know the price is always moving in a wave. We need to understand what can happen on the weekend. And Masterclass students, you will get this particular live chart in TM7. It will be introduced in TR16. What we see is these particular shaded lines here. This is the weekend. This is weekend price action. This is outside the weekend in that black area. Sometimes what we can see is the price just goes up and down by wild amounts inside the weekends because we have light trading. But sometimes you'll actually see some different things occurring. You might be saying, Ken, what is that sort of orangey goldy line? Goldie line. Goldie line and the three bears. This gold line is actually the Nasdaq, and we're actually looking at the Nasdaq and what gravity that throws on the crypto market. You can see sometimes the Nasdaq comes down and crypto is already going up before the Nasdaq turns around. This is really good to understand. Sometimes Bitcoin comes down when the Nasdaq is coming down. These are really, really good associations to understand. And you can see how these lines are wobbling all over the place. This is just TradingView. And what happens is that we can see the Nasdaq can come up. For example, like this, the Nasdaq was coming up and Bitcoin was coming down. We can get divergence, and it's really important to understand that divergence can play out for a while. We're always stacking probability, and that is a really, really critical thing to do. And you can see here in this particular weekend, look at that downward price action that occurred early Sunday morning, like basically Saturday midnight. And you can see how things can actually drop across the weekend. That's because we have lower trading volume. And a lot of people say the institutions don't play on the weekend. Don't believe it. One little tip with TradingView, if you've gone a long way back and you want to get back to current price action, you can scroll to the most recent bar by pressing this like fast forward icon or Alt Shift and the right arrow. Let's do that now. Whoa, that was fun. It's really important to not seek so much certainty out of the market. Certainty is zone 1 and zone 2. It takes a lot of education and a lot of knowledge to get into zone 3. I suggest you always invest in your knowledge. What we may actually see is a little bit of a divergence between the Nasdaq and Bitcoin, and it's happened many times. I scroll back in history to show you how it happens, and it happens a lot actually. We can look at Bitcoin options to understand what the sentiment is inside the market. If we go to the end of the month, end of February, we can see the put-call ratio is really low. This indicates bullish action, and the Masterclass students know all about this. The max pain price is currently $40,000, but have a look at how many positive expectations are in the market at the moment. It's all the way up to $140,000 expectation on Bitcoin's price. That of course may or may not happen, but the thing is that we're seeing a lot of calls being opened here and being funded. They're not funded for no reason. If we look into liquidations, we can see over the past 24 hours, $171.37 million worth of liquidations occurred across nearly 65,000 positions. In the past 24 hours, nearly 70% of liquidations were short liquidations, and we can see more short liquidations than long liquidations. I would urge you, please do not touch leverage until you absolutely, utterly know what you're doing, and even then, it's optional. Because crypto is so incredibly volatile, because it's an exponential asset class, and it's very, very likely to go all over the place in the short term, it's very important to make in advance probabilistic choices. Know what you will do if it goes down, goes up, or goes sideways, and trade your plan. It's really important to have a plan and to stick to it. Crypto technical analysis is a skill, but it's also a philosophy, and that philosophy is focused on real wealth. And we know Rule 28 is such a beautiful rule. Opportunities reset daily. It's exactly the same with your own life. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. It doesn't matter what happened to you in the past. You can design a completely new life starting right now. You don't even have to wait till tomorrow. You can just say, yeah, now is good. As we look through the market, the first thing that we see is Bitcoin is positive. Bitcoin's gravity will impact all the alts, and likely that some 1% won't move in the same direction as Bitcoin, but we're really interested in knowing what that 1% is. But the critical thing is 99% of alts will move in with the directional bias of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes up, you can expect the alts to go up as well. Looking at the stablecoins can be a really, really good thing to understand. And some people, when they're new to the crypto market, they're saying, what is this? Bitcoin versus US dollar, or Tether versus US dollar, or what are these things? These are pairs. So basically, when you're looking at any particular crypto, it can be represented in a large number of ways. It could be, for example, when we look at Bitcoin, it could be Bitcoin versus Tether, which is USDT. It could be Bitcoin versus USD. And there is a really big difference between USD and USDT and USDC and DAI and BUSD and all of these other things. What they are, stable coins, are just a way of converting crypto to crypto. If you convert crypto to fiat, there are certain taxation implications there. You want to keep crypto to crypto as much as you possibly can. Your accountant will love you. When we look at stable coins, they can give us some insight into what the market is doing. Have a look at BUSD. This is Binance US dollars. And I need to just make you aware of something that's happened recently with Binance. Unfortunately, the scammers are out again, and the Binance CEO warns users of a massive SMS phishing scam. What basically happened, the scammers sent out a link and they had a fake website directing particular users of Binance. And Binance is the world's largest crypto exchange, so there's quite a few users on Binance. But please understand, phishing websites or phishing websites are all about taking your login credentials. Do not click on SMS links, full stop, ever. I can just tell you from personal experience, I get about 5 SMS links to click on every day, and I just ignore them. And there's so many scammers out there. You might have heard of robocalling, people saying they're from a certain office or from Amazon or from, it just boggles the mind. Just hang up on them. The crypto market is a lot like the Wild West. It's really important to have knowledge. In Zone 3 and Zone 4, we don't click on links. We don't care about anything like that. If somebody, for example, contacts us by SMS, we go independently to the website. We just need to verify everything, unfortunately. Scammers do play a lot of games, and I put some information on my Twitter handle about scammers. If you would like to get in contact with me, I'm at Stanfield Ken, STANDFIELD and Ken. I like to stand in the field, hey, and I'm Ken. That's the way to find me directly. Please be aware of scammers. There's a lot of scammers out there pretending to be me. I love hunting down scammers and getting them kicked off Twitter. I've made a profession of it. What does this actually tell us? Returning to the stablecoin analysis, when we have a big uptick in stablecoin market capitalization, that's all about investor confidence returning into the market. This is a really, really good thing. Tether's actually been under a degree of stress, and probably rightfully so, because they need to be more transparent. I think they will solve their problems when they're just upfront about what's happening. Masterclass students, you will get a copy of this live chart in TM14. This is a particularly interesting thing to see USDC and BUSD coming up like this. I also had a question about where this particular source of information was. It comes from BitInfo Charts, and you can just look up this wallet address. What we see here, this particular whale is accumulating Bitcoin, and a lot of it, tens of millions of dollars worth, as the price is coming down. Why would they do this? Hang on a second. I thought institutions say you shouldn't catch a falling knife, but that's what this wallet has been doing. And this is exactly what professional traders and investors do. They accumulate on the way down. They're actually adding to their losses. Hang on, didn't someone say you should never add to a loss? Was it an institution? One of the things that you will find in Zone 1 and Zone 2 is that people have been given rules that don't serve them. They are rules that are literally guaranteed to lose them money. So returning to this analysis, what we can see is confidence is being restored into the crypto market. People are putting their money where their mouth is. This is why we always need to look under the hood. We stack probabilities, and we know there's no certainty. Let's have a look at what is happening right now. When we look at Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin doing? It's coming up to a level of resistance. What does that actually mean? That means that we would expect some wobbling around this price, things to slow down a bit, and there's quite a bit of resistance through that level as well. What happens when Bitcoin hits resistance to the other alts? Yes, of course, they'll hit resistance as well. And we can see that Ethereum is coming up to a resistance level, multiple actually. We can also see that Binance coin has been selling down a little bit. And this is just part and parcel of the crypto market. People look for certainty where there is none. If you're looking for certainty, please know that you need to get out of Zone 1 and Zone 2 as quickly as humanly possible. They are the zones where people lose money. Solana, we can see Solana starting to get up over its once resistance line and starting to turn it to support. Cardano starting to spike up, but coming back a little, because this is what happens with Bitcoin's fingerprint. Bitcoin's fingerprint plays out on all the alts, but just in different magnitudes. XRP overcoming resistance here, and it's got a little bit of a way to go. Around the 75.15 mark is where we would expect the next major level of resistance. Let's have a look at DOT. DOT is getting above. It's very tight. This is a very tight resistance line, and we need to do tight ones, especially on the 2-hour time frame, because we need to see where trends are breaking. We can also see Luna is doing quite well, just getting above that resistance line, coming back in for a retest. Sometimes they don't retest their lines, and this is what crypto is all about. It's a very, very volatile market. Looking at the next day, we can see Doge just mirroring Bitcoin's fingerprint, and we can see this playing out across the entire crypto space. This is really important stuff to understand. When we get up to a level of resistance in a particular or specific crypto, we need to pay attention to that as well. And what we can see, AVAX is just a bit away from overhead resistance. SHIB is doing really very, very well. It's cleared all of this resistance. A few people said that SHIB had a lot of power in it. Matic is under resistance, and it needs to overcome these things, and it's quite a deal away from that. That's often a really good thing. What you will find is that support and resistance lines are like fences. And Buildy pointed this out to a new masterclass member. The reason is that we draw these lines in because they're literally like fences. And Buildy was saying, it may be better to use the Bitcoin example. Buildy was saying that what actually happens, the reason that we draw these lines in, it's like the price action is sheep in a paddock. I thought it was a really cool example. Well done, my friend. The concept is that the lines of resistance are like a fence. When the sheep break out of the fence, they're going to go to the next line. They're sort of magnetically pulled, if you like, magnetized sheep. So we can see that happened really, really well here. When price came down, the magnetized price sheep got sucked into this line, and when it came up, they got sucked into this line. I'm thinking, Nick, you could do some great stuff with this. Is very visual. And when was the next line? Well, 1 here and 2 up here. the price sheet got sucked up to this line, and then they wandered along the paddock for a while and trying to get out of this line. Those pesky price sheep, they're always trying. It's always good to illustrate with a particular example. So please, everybody meet Percy the magnetized sheep. Percy is walking along and he's magnetized to this fence, and then all of a sudden Percy drops down. He's on this fence, and now he's on this fence, and he's coming up and he's magnetized up here. When you see basically how this is a fence, Percy is always trying to get out. Naughty Percy. He's trying to break through the fences, but he couldn't break through here. The fence was too strong, so he couldn't fall. He wanted to go down. Oh, maybe there's a swim. He wanted to go for a swim down here. I don't know. But the fence was too strong. So when you look at these support and resistance lines, you can just think of Percy the magnetized sheep trying to get out of it. It's a really interesting example, and I want to thank Buildy for that fantastic comment. I do read everybody's comments across every platform every day. So let's go a little bit further. What is happening? Percy is just under pressure. He's under pressure, Percy. He's getting squished by this fence. The fence won't let him out, but he's trying to get out of there. Push, push, push. I want to go above 41,933. But what happens if Percy gets above here, the price? It will hit this resistance level. Now, could it actually punch through that? This is the really, really interesting thing with crypto. There will be a huge number of shorts above this with their stop losses. If Percy the magnetized price sheep can get above this line, we're going to see an exponential takeoff in price. And we've seen that it doesn't take much to move the markets. So we definitely want Percy the magnetized price sheep to get above this particular resistance line and go and party. And when we get past 44,402, I think Percy's just going to fly into the next paddock. But always be aware, institutional interests don't want you to have certainty. They continuously pull the rug out from that. So we could get a case where Percy comes down and retests here or here or here. Just have your different probabilities playing out and just make sure that you know what you are going to do in each one of those cases. I think it's always fun to have fun when you're learning. Learning shouldn't be boring, and I know a lot of people want to be serious when they learn, but learning is such a fun thing because the focus is not on sharing knowledge, it's actually on sharing understanding. Quite a few members of the community said that Litecoin was doing really, really well, and it was doing really well. You can see that directional movement, very good. And you can also see that Litecoin will come up to resistance. I thought it might help for a few support and resistance levels to be popped in on these charts. I've just done that for you. It'll be interesting to see what Filecoin does here. It's starting to break above short-term resistance. The next level up is 28.64. Let's have a look at Theta. Theta is currently under resistance, but it's starting to get above. Chainlink, doing well, coming up to resistance. Looking at the next day, we can see Bitcoin Cash has done really well. It's punched through its resistance line, but we know what's going to happen with Bitcoin's gravity. As Bitcoin's gravity moves in a downward direction, it's going to impact Bitcoin Cash and all the other cryptos. One thing that I would like to make you aware of, when we see Bitcoin's gravity just going up the wall like this, sometimes we get a bit of a delayed lag. This is the impact of gravity. You notice with Bitcoin Cash, like I've just zoomed in to the absolute most current price action. Notice how we're getting a follow in here, and then Bitcoin shoots off. And what happens to Bitcoin Cash takes a lot of time to actually just click into that gravity. It's certainly moving up on a directional basis, but you notice what is happening. It doesn't move up exactly. One particularly good comment in the comments section on YouTube was the understanding that some cryptos lead and some cryptos lag. Let's just have a look at Tron. This is an example of a leading one. You can see TRX just basically took off before Bitcoin took off. But look at this correlation, this directional correlation. Those prices are moving in the same direction, but they just have different timing. You compare Bitcoin Cash to Tron, very different. One took off early, one took off later, but they both took off. Let's continue that analysis on Mana Decentraland. We can see that as Bitcoin came down, Mana came down, Bitcoin bottomed out, Mana bottomed out. And look at this, as Bitcoin took off, Mana was taking off almost to the ping. We're seeing some really interesting behaviors. Note that Axie Infinity took its time like Bitcoin Cash. Notice the similarities between some patterns and the divergences between others. Having a look at Rose. Rose did really well following the gravity, but we've seen a bit of a decay here. That's pretty interesting stuff. Look at VET. We're seeing a similar decay as well. Cosmos taking off literally on par with Bitcoin's takeoff. These things can be really helpful to know. A lot of people don't know about Bitcoin's gravity, and when they're told, they say, how could it be? And it's pretty fair that people would feel that way. It's just the way the crypto market goes, I believe, because there's so much algorithmic trading. FTT or FTX token, look, it's just moving with Bitcoin's gravity. Just amazing stuff. I'd like to thank FlopAdFarg, wow, what an interesting name, for that pre-active mirroring and reactive mirroring, and just superb. And of course, to all our beautiful community, the KS family, globally distributed, just so beautiful. Your particular comments, thanks so much. I really appreciate you all. I also just want to send my thoughts and love across to Brad. Of course, the whole community is feeling that too, Brad. You're going through a life pullback at the moment, but our community is here for you. And thanks so much for your very kind words. I also want to thank David for your very kind comment. Real wealth is really something I wasn't taught until I did the masterclass. Thanks, Ken. You've opened up a new door in my life. Good on you, David. I'd like to also thank Sean, talking about would it be possible to discuss Wyckoff accumulation and distribution patterns. I've read Wyckoff's book cover to cover, and one thing that's really interesting with Wyckoff's work is he just follows price action. He's like the original gangster as far as following pure price action. What I've seen is so many people take what looks to be his work and say, oh, look, this pattern, it matches the price data. And actually, if you do pure Wyckoff analysis, it doesn't. That's why I haven't made much of Wyckoff analysis talking about accumulation and distribution. And the reason is I believe everybody in the crypto space should have their time in the sun, so to speak. But if you look at a much deeper level, you can actually read Wyckoff's books and understand that there's so much more to what he does. The other thing that's really nice, Crypto Turtle, thank you, my friend. So Crypto Turtle said that Crypto Turtle is not addicted to any patterns and doesn't even remember or need to remember any of the candlestick names, because the CTKS methodology actually replaces and upgrades all of that to just make it a pure crypto trade. Just think about Percy the magnetic sheep. Percy's always trying to break out either to the upside or the downside. That pesky sheep, so naughty. Thank you also to Calvin. And Calvin was saying, what about Elliott wave? What about Elliott wave theory? Being a mathematician and statistician, when I look at particular methods, I'm really rigorous. I don't like anything that moves around too much. As soon as it gets subjective, it kind of falls outside what I would say is a reliable or continuously reliable signal indicator. A lot of people think that EWT, Elliott wave theory, is a really good thing, and it is. It's got so many fantastic applications. When you get into crypto, you need really rapid, reliable signals. That's why I've taken the best out of all of these things, such as Wyckoff, such as Elliott Wave, such as Fibonacci, you name it, it's in the CTKS methodology, and it's all simplified. It's like, for example, when I was lecturing first and second year statistics, I just used the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they were sufficient to teach very, very complicated theories. Things don't have to be so complicated, and the key is always focusing on understanding. Tales from the Man Cave said a really, really good comment that we stack probabilities from greater market analysis. A lot of technical analysis is actually stuck in the chart, and it doesn't take too much notice of what is happening outside the chart. That's more sort of reserved for fundamental analysis. What we do is that we combine so many strengths from so many different positions. We're always interested in comparing many things to each other, looking at the psychology behind price movements. You can think that the CTKS method is like Elliott Wave, Wyckoff, Fibonacci, all on steroids and designed specifically for crypto. Another question in the community was, how do you actually handle trades when they're coming down in price? It's always the same methodology. Buy at support levels down and just structure your trade so that you're actually lowering your average buy-in price, and you can actually buy on the way up as well. There's so many different things that you can do in trading. One of the things that you would always want to bear in mind, many people think when price is coming down like this, it's just going to keep on going. It's going to zero. It's going to zero. Zone 1 and Zone 2 thinking. It's really important to get out of Zone 1 and Zone 2. And the way to do your risk management in crypto, get into the good projects to start with. What we see here is price wobbling around. And then what happens? This is crypto. It can basically take off for example, from $3 all the way up to nearly $30. This is what crypto does, and it perplexes people, and then it can come back and then do this. It's crazy. This is the volatility inside the crypto space. When people understand that they're looking at an exponential asset class, everything becomes a lot easier to understand. And then what we're trying to do is to deploy always our 10-5-10 fund. So we buy at seriously offensive price levels. We look at it and say, we know crypto, Percy the magnetized sheep, is just going to break the floor at some stage. That's just what they do. Cryptos have their own personality. That's why we do chart psychology analysis, crypto psychology. Understanding how the 10-5-10 fund works is incredibly important. You want the percentages on your side. I'll just explain using this as an example. The analysis is always about what does the percent move down look like when it retraces. For example, here with Axie Infinity, we've come down 73.26% over 79 days. Wow, good on you, Axie. That's what Axie does. Axie is very volatile. And when we come up from that low point to the previous high, that price will have increased 273.91%. The numbers don't lie. This is what we're looking at. And when we understand these issues, when we understand that what comes down hard goes up like a rocket, this is really, really good stuff. We want to buy at support levels down, and to understand that the 10-5-10 fund is the way to go, because we never know where the floor is, and we certainly don't know where the ceiling is. We can only stack our probabilities. And it really comes down to your particular trading style. You might say, well, if I get an increase up to this point, I'm happy. Or if I get an increase to this point. For example, you may say, I think 193% is okay for me. Or it might be like this. And just think about where your break-even price could be. That will determine what your percentage will be. So just keep that in mind. You're always lowering your average buy price. And when you get to some sort of break-even price, that's where you can draw this up. Just do your own thing. Experts do not know your needs. Nobody can guide you. Only you can guide you. Only you know what is reasonable and right for your specific situation. The other thing with the masterclass, I'm all about teaching you to have the skills so that you can stand independently. That is my goal. That is, I think, why the masterclass is so very, very different. People put out classes because I think that they want to lock particular students in. I don't want to lock anyone in. I want to transfer my knowledge to you. And it's even better than that because we have the most beautiful, the most incredible people in our community, and everybody is focused on bringing more kindness, integrity, and skill into the crypto space. They're literally friends that you can have for a lifetime as well. I'd just like to send some well wishes to Brendan. Hope you get better soon, my friend. Let's have a look at the community favorites. We can see VRA doing quite well. There's a lot of power in VRA, as there are in a lot of the community favorites. We can see VRA is coming up into resistance. I've just put a couple of resistance and support lines in here for you. Hopefully that will help out. Icon getting above immediate resistance, just coming in and retesting that line. Next level of resistance is at 947. Sushi, next level of support 4421, and next level of resistance 5521. IOTA getting above this particular resistance line and turning it to support. Two levels of resistance above, 10505 and 11164. When we look at Loopring is just very close to a level of overhead resistance at 10183. The next one up is 14856. IOTEX, and this is just a call out to AJ. Thanks for the recommendation, my friend. So we can see the current price, two levels of support below, 76.98 and 71.83, and the next level of major resistance above, 10.124. And when we look at crypto.com, we can see a level of support at 392.23 or 392.34. Wow, so many numbers in there. We can see the current price is literally at a level of resistance. Getting above this will take it to 55.88. Gala looking quite nice, and what a powerful move in Gala it was. The metaverse and the omniverse, wow, they're doing really, really well, and I think they'll change the world. And one thing to bear in mind, when the crypto regulations come, the gaming industry is, I think, viewed as just part and parcel of what crypto is about. I don't think they'll pay too much attention to it. I think gaming and metaverse, they'll just say, oh, you know, that's stuff the kids do. You know, politicians, you know, people play games, they must be certain age or something like that, not understanding that the whole world is always interested in these things. But, you know, hey, I think they're going to protect the banking industry, so DeFi could come under pressure, but just be aware of these things. I think that when it comes to the metaverse, which is just like the particular politicians will say, oh, that's like a conference call or something. That's a virtual meeting space. That poses no threat to the existing order. This is just a roundabout way of saying that I think Gala has taken off for a good reason. Let's have a look at something that you need to keep your eye on. This red sell-off area, that's a buy spike. That's when we buy. We're professional. We step in when everybody is stepping out. What is this? This is a sell spike. Be aware. We have to be careful of how up and down activities occur. Now, what does that mean? Should you sell? I don't know your particulars, but I'm just trying to let you know that we could get a retracement in this. And the other thing is, there is always probability and no certainty. This is just for your stacking of probabilities exercise. Just make your in advance probabilistic choices. If you're in Gala, just know what you will do and what you want to do. What will you do if it goes down, goes up, or goes sideways? And of course, that applies to every single alt. Just know what you'll do and you'll be fine. That's a really good way to get rid of stress. And I don't want you to have stress. Crypto stress is just horrible. Crypto Turtle is really prolific. Crypto Turtle said, Ken simplifies everything in the masterclass. One thing, and I really agree with CT when Crypto Turtle says this, it's very important to drop all the knowledge, clear your mind when you enter the masterclass. What I'll actually do is teach you from the ground up, just level by level by level, just in time knowledge. And you'll find that when I give a video, you'll have a lot of questions that are answered in the next couple of videos. I do everything very specifically, but it's to give you confidence as you go from step to step to step. And the foundation section is quite onerous, and you should also understand that. It's not a walk in the park. I'm basically giving you 30 years of condensed knowledge, and the foundations are critical to building a absolute tower of power when it comes to your knowledge. So just go slow to go fast, but having a clear mind when you enter the masterclass is really important, because what you'll find is traditional technical analysis, that is the TA that's borrowed from the stock market and Forex. When it's applied to crypto, you will find that you actually lose a lot of money, and I don't want you to do that. If you'd like to have a further look at the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass, I'd urge you to go across to www.cryptotechnicalanalysis.org, and you can reach out to the ambassadors. The ambassadors can give you 80% off. I think for the comments section in YouTube, it'd be really good to discuss real wealth. A very fascinating question would be, if you could only pick one word out of one box to live by, what would that word be? And of course, the more important follow-up question, why that word and not another one? And you might also like to share your experience with real wealth. Please consider sharing and liking this video if you think it will help others. Thank you very much to our moderators for keeping our community safe from scammers. If you would like daily updates on price movements in the crypto market, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, please subscribe to YouTube. I've left helpful links in the description of this video, such as the link to the masterclass. Please remember, crypto is volatile. Always prepare yourself for the best and worst case scenarios. Reality will likely be between them. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you next time. Bye for now.